All right, let's talk about category B, space margin, skill B4, which is the gap. Okay, so let me adjust this. All right. Here's what ICBC says. Choose an appropriate space in traffic that doesn't cause other road users to adjust speed and or road position. Take safe gaps when traffic permits and when legally permitted. Okay, so this is what we say regarding this statement. Let's first address long gaps. Long gaps are situations where a driver clearly has a safe enough gap but is not making their turn. If you miss one long gap, the examiner may overlook it if it is not a reoccurring event. In other words, if they want to see that you have confidence to drive on your own. Please don't confuse this with taking chances on the road. In order to be able to identify safe gaps, you need to look further down the road and plan in advance. The more you drive, the better you get at identifying safe gaps versus unsafe gaps. Okay, so here's an example of a safe gap. You're approaching the intersection and you look further out the road and you see, oh yeah, there's a car all the way up here, and if I make this turn, I'm not going to impede their movement. They're not going to have to slow down or swerve into another lane to avoid a collision with me. So I wrote here, oh, I can totally make this turn in time without slowing down the movement of oncoming traffic, right? So in your mind, you should consider, how long does this turn take from when I leave here till I make it here? Usually 3 to 4 seconds, right? And so the cars that are approaching here need to be double the distance away, so maybe 6 seconds away or even further away. Okay, so quite a ways away for you to make that turn safely. Now on the flip side, if we're coming up, or actually let's continue talking about safe gaps. So we're making a right turn, same idea here. I've stopped at my stops line, I've inched forward, I've shoulder checked right. No one was at the crosswalk here. I went up to this edge here to see what's going on to the left. And as I look over, I see this car is really far away, right? So, oh, I can totally make my turn and get up to speed without slowing down the vehicle approaching, right? So notice the difference here. When I'm making a left turn, I kind of just have to get out of their way, get out of their path of travel, right? Whereas with a right turn, I have to turn into the lane that they're approaching me at and get up to speed without slowing them down. So I think there is a bit of a misconception there about which one is the unsafe turn here. A lot of students are afraid of left turns at intersections, but they totally discount right turns at intersections. Right turns can be, especially when you don't have the right of way here. So if you've got a stop sign or it's a red light and you're just creeping forward to see what's going on to the left before attempting to make a right turn, you need to check to see, is this gap, will this gap let me make the turn and get up to speed in time or not? Okay, so which brings me up to talk about a short gap, right? So a short gap is when a driver makes a turn when they are slowing down the speed of another vehicle that's approaching, or worse, cause a collision. This makes the examiner feel like you're taking unnecessary risks on the road. Okay, so here's an example of a short gap for a left turn. This person is coming into the intersection and discounting how close this car is approaching here, if it's a green light or they don't have a light here, and they make the turn when it's affecting the movement of this car. So, oh, that car is approaching quick and it's close, now is not a good time to be making my turn. So that's what you need to be thinking about, is notice between these two, right? This car approaching the intersection pretty far away. This time we're coming to the intersection. This car is really close to the intersection. My light is green, or I don't have a light, but it would be the same thing for this person. His light would be green. So person taking the left matters less than the person going straight through when our lights are green. Okay. Similarly, for short gap when you're coming up to make a right turn. Let's say in this case it was a stop sign, regular stop sign. So we stopped before the crosswalk here, and then we've inched forward. If I don't get ready to stop a second time here to check carefully to left, and I just quickly try to make a turn, and this car is here, we're going to be in trouble, right? So, oh, if I turn now, I will totally be slowing down the movement of the car approaching. I need not only enough time to make my turn, but also get up to speed. Okay, so understanding what a gap is and understanding what's a safe gap, what's a short gap, what's a long gap, right? And so you don't want to play it too safe where the cars are 1 or 2 blocks out and you're like, no, I don't want to go because I see just, if I see any car, I don't want to go. So that's not going to work on the road, right? On the flip side, you don't want to be that gambler where you come in every time you try to quickly make a turn to the left or quickly make a turn to the right. That's also no good. You have to make sure that you've assessed the flow of traffic on that road that has a right of way right now. Okay.